Hey Pitmasters, welcome to another episode, and today we're gonna find out what the best way is to get crispy pork belly skin. Wow, that is crispy. And as always, we're going to start by firing up our barbecue. We filled up the two barbecues with big block and we ignited them. We're going to set this grill to 140 degrees Celsius and this grill to 300 degrees Celsius. So let me explain the experiment that we're doing today. I want to test two things. I want to see what happens if we salt our skin and if we don't salt our skin. And I also want to find out what happens if we apply infrared heat and what happens when we apply convection heat to our pork belly skin. Look at these beautiful pork bellies. Iberico pork bellies. They look gorgeous, right? These are not salted and these two, they are salted. We salted them 24 hours ago. Only the skin side to dry out the skin. We're going to quickly rinse these off and pat them dry so they're ready to go on the grill. Make sure that we don't mix up the salted pork bellies and the unsalted pork bellies. We're just gonna carve across in the salted pork bellies. Now of course we also want to apply a little bit of flavor to our pork belly because we're going to eat them afterwards, right? So just turn them around and we're going to apply a little bit of Superlicious barbecue rub. This is a sweet and salty rub. It's going to taste amazing with the pork belly. So we're going to put one salted and one unsalted on this tray and one salted and one unsalted pork belly in this tray. So we'll set this tray over indirect heat at a low temperature. And this tray we're also going to put over indirect heat but at a high temperature. Woo, that's hot. It has been 20 minutes and there's a lot of smoke development here. We just want to check on these pork bellies and whoa, look at that. We can clearly see that there is a difference between the two pork bellies. One skin is crispening up much faster than the other. We can also see that the temperature on this barbecue is way too high. So we're just gonna slow it down a little bit, bring it back to 200 degrees Celsius and then keep roasting it. So we just close the lid. Close the bottom vent to about 2 fingers thick, close the top vent and then set it all the way open. Now we're also going to check on these two. Well, it's been 20 minutes and nothing much happened, so we're just going to let these two keep going. Just to make sure that we don't burn the side and the bottom of these pork bellies, we're going to wrap them in a little bit of tin foil. It has been 1.5 hours. And look at our pork belly. The skin has crispened up and is ready to come off the grill. So we started out roasting this pork belly at 300 degrees Celsius. That was way too high. The pork belly was starting to burn, so we lowered the temperature to 250 degrees Celsius. The skin crispened up nicely, and especially on this one. This one has turned hard as well, but here we got nice bubbling and nice crackling. The core temperature ended up to be around 90 degrees Celsius, which is a high temperature, but for pork belly is still okay. We're just gonna let these two pork bellies rest until the other ones are finished. I just got a notification from my thermometer that we've reached a core temperature of 60 degrees on our pork bellies. And look, we even got a little bit of bubble on this skin. But listen to this. This skin is still soft. So you see roasting it at 140 degrees Celsius doesn't do much for the skin. So now we're going to use our infrared grill to crispen them up. Now we are going to fire up our broiler and crispen up that skin. I set both burners to a low position so that we get the least amount of heat possible. Now we're going to put the pork bellies into our broiler. We're going to wait and see if they crispen up. It's been literally 30 seconds and look at that. This one is completely crunchy and crispy and the other one isn't. I can see that the one that crispened up, that's the salted version. And the one that's not crisping up, that's the unsalted version. So we're gonna put this back on and see if we can still get that crisp. Well, that's been 5 seconds longer and this one is crispy as well. So it's just taking around like 5 to 10 seconds longer between the salted and the not salted to crispen up. Well, this is the end result. We got the convection heat at 300 degrees Celsius and we got the radiation heat at 140 degrees Celsius and finished off under radiation heat on this grill. So I think there's only one thing left to do, right? Is slice into this, see which one is actually the most crispy and most edible. First I'm going to cut into the convection heat, which is salted. Wow, that is crispy. Very easy to cut through. Now look how juicy this is. That is extreme juicy, tender pork belly. Let me just rip off the pork skin and let's bite into this. Oh wow, that is salty, crispy and super tender, super delicious. Now we're going to try the version with no salt. Oh wow, this is really hard to get through. The skin is much harder and it breaks instead of being cut. You have to apply a lot of force to get it to break. Let's bite into one of these pieces. Let's get a good cut. This definitely has a crunch to it, but it's so hard. It's just no good. You can't eat it. So if you're only going to do this by convection heat, you basically have to use salt, otherwise it's just unedible. Now we're getting to the radiation heat. We cook this to a lower core temperature and let the infrared crispen up the skin. So let's find out with the salt version if the skin crispened up. Well, definitely easy to cut through. Look at how gorgeous this looks. This is also very, very juicy and tender. Let's take a bit of the top off. Wow. Basically, the top layer of the skin crispened up really nice, but the under part of the skin, it just stayed tough, like skin normally is. I don't like that. Let's give the meat a little try. Very juicy and very tasty. Nothing wrong with that. Now let's slice into the non-salted one. This one is also very easy to cut. Nice bit of crunch on the skin. No, this isn't right. It doesn't taste good. It didn't crispen up as I hoped it would. You know, radiation heat, unsalted, don't even go there. Salted pork belly with radiation heat, well, it's okay, but not great. So basically, we're saying no to cooking at a lower temperature and then finishing off with radiation heat. It just doesn't work. The convection heat, it totally nailed it. Cooking this at a higher temperature of around 250 degrees Celsius in your oven or in your barbecue will create a beautiful golden crispy crust. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave me a big thumbs up and a comment down below. See you guys next time and until then, eet smakelijk!